All right, welcome back for another tier list. This time we're going to do some off-road trucks. We're going to preface this by saying that I think there really, besides for maybe a couple, there really is no bad off-road truck if we separate it into a couple of additional categories. So this one here we're gonna talk about as we get in, but I also want to start by saying this is my opinion. This is from the perspective of hard mode. If you have to buy the truck versus if you get it for free is going to make a difference. Because in normal, a lot of these trucks you just have in your storage, and in hard mode sometimes you don't get them until much later. I also kind of have a preference of how I like to play with low saddle and a crane, which if you watch any of my videos you probably know that. So I mean, the vehicles that have better capability doing that I tend to lean towards. I have some possibly controversial opinions, but this is also the second time I made this video because I decided I wanted to add a whole nother class of fuel truck gang, which I actually I kind of like this idea because I do use some of these trucks regularly as fuel trucks, and I think they fit well too. I think that's actually a good thing to point out, especially for hard mode, is that what trucks would you use as a fuel truck? Let's just jump right into the first truck. This one's going to be towards the top of that list, actually, the ANK Civilian. Can be used as a water truck or a low saddle truck as well. You can buy it from the beginning of the game. It has off-road trucks. It's not expensive either. It's $75,000. The upgrades are a little bit later on, but it is a fresh save. If you earn up $75,000, you can buy one of these trucks. I love this truck as a fuel truck. It's a little tippy, obviously. I think you're better off running it not with the raised suspension, or run a little bit smaller tires. There is no dual option, which would probably make it a little more stable. So you have to like be very careful with the ANK. And I usually prefer to run it with the not top motor, the second motor. Because it is really thirsty, so it kind of needs to be a fuel truck just to fuel itself, let alone do anything. But I mean, if you do ever use this as a low saddle truck, it doesn't have a crane, which is kind of for hard mode, but I do really like this truck as a fuel truck. I mean, if I was gonna put it in like a SABC, it would probably end up being probably in a B, like towards the low end. But like I said, all of these, I'm gonna say this a lot during this video. I'm trying not to make it super long, but a lot of these trucks are very close to each other, so just keep that in mind as we go through. So like the differences between this tier list and like the scout tier list is, besides for this, does this need a new class, which we'll order this one as well. So all right, so the next one is the Civilian's brother. You get this one from Alaska, and I think, I don't know, I'm debating. I hate to grade things via their add-on capability, but this one almost has to be graded via its add-on capability because it literally only has the sideboard bed that it comes with. It can't even be removed. I mean, again, it comes with a snorkel, it comes with off-road trucks. You can like dominate Pedro Bay where you get this truck, as long as you bring a crane truck along to lift stuff into the bed. But I mean, it can tow trailers really good. It just runs out of fuel because it's very small fuel tank. Same thing with the ANK Civilian. Small fuel tanks, 53 gallons or 200 liters. But I mean, really, really good starting. Like in the beginning, these trucks are both amazing. They definitely can carry your save if you bring fuel along. But I have to put it in B because And again, like the difference between B and A, I think is B I probably wouldn't transfer to another map, pay the 3,500. A I definitely would. In fact, I do frequently transfer the A trucks to other maps. And the S tiers are ones that I almost feel guilty using, they're so good. So I guess that's sort of the way that I would look at the list here. Okay, so the next one, Ankatra. This guy, I mean, if you're doing the game in order, you're not going to have this until the very end. It is only for farming, but it does fall in the off-road class. I don't even know where to put, I mean, I guess it's just going to go in the bottom. Kind of has no other place to go. It's not a fuel truck. It doesn't really need a new class because you need these for farming. It's just pretty useless otherwise. The crane is too short. You can't even really load mediums into the new futon trailer with it. So you can't even really use it as a log truck, even though they kind of designed it to be like, hey, you can use this for logs too. Not really good at it. Use a different truck. Yep, I don't know. It's just, I wish that we didn't get more tractors, but the tractors we got are better than the old tractors, so there's that. I guess that's where I'll leave the discussion on that one. Okay, so this is gonna go, I already know where this is gonna go. The Sprinter's gonna go in the does this need a new class. However, the Sprinter got buffed recently. More repair points, more fuel. Still can't tow a trailer. And again, this is sort of in that F750 topic from the last one of this needs to be in a class with possibly even the Burlak, maybe the Earth Roamers, support class, right? Small trucks, single rear axle 4x4, maybe even the, I guess the Burlak kind of doesn't count as that, but it can go in this class too. Bunch of repair points, bunch of fuel, the ability to tow trailers, so give it the ability to tow trailers, but take away its ability to have beds and low saddles, right? Like take away all the beds, take away the low saddles from all these trucks in this class and just make a repair truck, you know? Like, this is your winch truck, your rescue a vehicle, flip a vehicle back onto its tires truck class, right? So the Sprinter is going to go in here somewhere. And it, like I said, it comes from season 7, which is sort of stigma, I guess, but it's really not that bad. It's just not that good either. So it really doesn't belong in the off-road class. It belongs in in the new support class, right? Okay, next one, Azovs. This one's hard too. In a hard mode situation, this truck costs $82,100. You can't buy it until level 14. So it's not terribly expensive or terribly level locked. It has a very small fuel tank again, and it has an extremely high rate of consumption, just like the ANKs. It can do a lot more than, like, I really do like this truck. It's actually like the fast Azov. It's a speedy truck. Would I buy it or transfer it to another map though? I think that has to put it in the B class. Because I don't even know if I would buy this truck. In fact, I probably wouldn't buy this truck in hard mode just because why have something that uses that much fuel? I mean, like I said, you absolutely use this truck in normal. It's actually quite fun to use, quite capable. Could really use a roof rack. Would be nice if it had a roof rack. Got a nice flat surface for it too, and it just doesn't have one. But I think we'll see where in B this ends up, but I think it's gonna end up being close to the top. But it's just, like I said, it's not one I would buy. Cost is low, but I still wouldn't spend the money on it, because I would just use all of the other trucks that are going to go up here, because this is going to be a chunky section up here in the S and A tier. So so moving on to the next Azov, I'm going to say this one's tough, but I think it has to go in S. I hate it that it's S. It's a love-hate relationship with this truck. This is the truck that everybody said in the beginning, way back when the game first came out. The guides, the YouTube guides were, take your normal save, because you didn't have a bunch of DLC trucks in your storage that you could sell and make money. Get your Fleet Star, get your GMC, maybe get a couple other trucks if you need to. Transfer everything to Tamir, grab a repair trailer, go get the Tayga, and then sell everything else but the Tayga, keep the Tayga, and buy the Azov 6, and then transfer it all back to Michigan and win the game. So that was the that was the and I feel like if you know, you know, you did this, right? Everybody did that. And it is just so good. It's so fuel efficient. It's so stable. It's got kind of small tires, so it does like kind of bump its nose on the ground. It's not fully versatile, especially in early Michigan if you're using it that way, because it doesn't have all of its Tamir upgrades, but it's just such a good truck. I mean, it is like the gift that the devs gave us, because it's just such a strong truck for so early. I mean, you can use this all the way to the end of the game too, and it's still a very capable truck. It's just really slow. Like, you never actually need to use high in this truck. You just put it in auto and go snail pace and do everything in a very stable manner. So yeah, I mean, I definitely would suggest this one if you're gonna buy a truck. Maybe experience some of the game first, just so you don't have cheat mode engaged. But if you want to, this is definitely one of the best trucks available in the class. So yeah, it's gonna have to stay in S. Moving on, Royal BM17. Get this one early in Alaska too. This one kind of holds a special place. This thing absolutely crushes Alaska. If you get this truck and you get the upgrades for it and you just throw a low saddle on it and a crane, cart around a 5-slot trailer, and just absolutely crush Alaska with this thing. You can use it in other maps too. It's actually a very good truck. I hate to put it in the fuel truck gang. That is what mine currently is in my save. I definitely will never sell this truck. A lot of people buy it and get this thing and immediately sell it. It doesn't have diff lock, it's garbage. Give it a chance. It is a little more stable if you don't put the lift on it, the raised suspension, but you also lose some ground clearance. But it is, as long as you have weight on wheels, which is important, you don't really need the diff lock. It does do well with the upgraded winches, because sometimes you do get stuck without the diff lock and you just need to winch. But you know, having all-wheel drive, having as strong of a motor as it's got, having the clearances, I mean, it doesn't really like have a lot of collision issues. I don't know, this one, do I transfer this truck? Sometimes. I think we're gonna put it in A. It might move. It might move. I hate to do it. It might move to B, but for now it's gonna go in A. Just too good. It's too good of a truck. All right, the Freightliner. Oh wait, I'm missing a truck. I missed the other Freightliner. Let's do this one first. There's two Freightliners. The 114SD. You can buy this truck. I think it's level 18. I might be wrong on that, so correct me if I'm wrong. So you can buy it again pretty early. The purchase price is $93,800. So again, not very expensive. You do get one for free, but it's all the way in season 9. So it doesn't come until later. This is another one of those that people tend to sleep on, and I'm going to have some bias. I will admit bias when there is bias. And this one I'm going to have some bias on. I think it's a really good truck. I think it could use 15,000 more torque. Something just a little bit more power. Because when you do use it as a low saddle with a crane, it struggles just a tiny little bit. And if it had just a little bit more torque, it would just be that much better. But yellow crane, which is always a plus. I mean, it makes actually a really good, like, seismic truck. It's fairly stable. It's not the most stable, but it's fairly stable. It's fairly capable. Good fuel economy, which is important for hard mode. Big fuel tank, too. It's not the best fuel economy, but it's definitely not the worst. Yeah, I think this one's... It's definitely going to go above the Royal. This is one that I transfer a lot. I use this truck in a lot of places because I just like using the underdogs. And I feel like this is an underrated truck. People will automatically put this in B or sell it, you know? And I think people deserve to try this truck. Especially if you're on normal, you get this for free in your garage, in your storage. Obviously, it's level locked. There's a lot of upgrades that are level locked, and I think the all-wheel drive isn't until Alaska. So, right, pull it out in Alaska and compare it to the Royal. It's a pretty. I would say these two are pretty close, actually, in performance and fun level. So yeah, I think that's a good place. We're going to put it above the Royal, but it's definitely an A. I don't think this one's going to come out of A. This one might. This one's staying. Okay, moving on. Freightliner number 2. This one's the... If you buy the game on a disc, this is the cover. Nobody really uses this truck, and I don't blame them. It's relatively fuel thirsty. So this thing has got this weird hump. And it prevents you from using pretty much any... Again, I hate to score it because of add-ons. But it's got this hump that interferes with what trailers you can use with it, so you can't use the sideboard semi, you can only use the flatbed semis. And it is only a semi-truck, so kind of defeats the purpose of having a saddle when you can't use all the saddle trailers, if that makes sense. If you're a mod user, you can use some mod trailers that fit, but not the base game. It's a little tippy, but because it's a sideboard only, or it's a low saddle, you know, essentially a semi only truck, you can use the trailer for stability. So that's not really an issue. It's relatively capable, actually. It's kind of a fun to drive, but like I said, it just uses too much fuel. This is not one you ever get for free. It costs $89,100, and I would never buy it. And even if I did buy it, I would never transfer it. It would be like for content, not for fun. I guess. Yeah, I think this one's gonna go. It's obviously gonna go above the Ankatra and B, but I would use the ANK MK38 more than this truck because it's free and I get one. And this one you have to buy. So again, hard mode perspective, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get too many people disagreeing with me. This one's fun. It is a fun to use truck, but it's just not a very good truck. So yeah, I would say lower on the B end. All right, Paystar 5070. This one's a tough one to grade. It's 82,100. You can buy it literally at level 2 again. It's an American truck that can use muds. It's also an American truck that can have OHD ones, which makes it very good. It's thirsty though, and it is tippy if you put the raised suspension on it. So I mean, it's not a terrible. You can actually put the maximum size tires without the lifted suspension as well, which is kind of nice. You just don't, you lose ground clearance, right? So pick your poison depending on where you are. This truck absolutely crushes Michigan if you buy it. Just again, keep fuel around. The OHD, I would highly suggest you put OHD ones on it. This is not a video that I'm going to get into tires. If you want tire information, look up Nathan Province if you don't know who he is on YouTube. He's got excellent information on what tires and why. And OHD ones are definitely, because of their weights, I'm not really going to get into it too much, but just look up his videos. They're better than me, than I'll ever explain it. So, I used to hate this truck, and I don't really know why. I can't really put my finger onto it as to why. But I would probably, I don't own this in my hard mode save either, but I feel like if I did it again, I would definitely buy one of these early, because I was missing out. Like this is almost like a must buy, I feel, because it is so good. And it doesn't have a lot of torque. It's really got one engine choice, and it's not like the greatest engine, but somehow because of the OHDs it just manages to pull through everything. I don't know, it's sort of a unique truck, but I think we're gonna actually put it, or do I want it above the, I think it's gonna be like just above, because of the fact that it doesn't really struggle with loads. Again, low saddle crane, fantastic truck. Sideboard bed, fantastic truck. Both of all of these, really, like I said, these are all really close together. Again, I'm going to say this a lot. All of the A's are really close together. All of the S's are really close together. There's really only a few outliers down and up. Okay. I think I like that. We'll leave it there. We might move things around at the end. We'll readjust. Boy, do I put this in fuel truck gang? This is... Okay, so the next one is the KRS-58 Bandit. It is expensive. It is a DLC truck that you get, I think, as part of the Year 1 pass. It was not a separate DLC that you had to buy, I don't believe. $125,400 to buy, though. So again, on normal mode, use the heck out of this truck. It's actually really fun. The Bandit crane is really fun. The Bandit crane makes it really tippy. If you take the crane off, the truck is much less tippy. Jack tires really improved the stability of this as well, because it added duals. But it is super fun to use it with the Tayga the tires, just because they look cool. You get that look cool factor. Got some level locking to it. I think you can buy this right away, though. I'll have to... I don't know. This might have a level requirements as well, maybe like 15 or 18 or something. Again, pretty early. Level locking is not a huge thing. It is actually a pretty good low saddle truck. Believe it or not, it's just the crane really sucks for overloading. If you're an overloading fan, the Bandit crane is really bad at it. You just can't pinch because it doesn't have like a second pivot joint. Gosh, you can make this into a fuel truck too, but it's like a really tippy fuel truck. It's very tippy. It actually makes a really good like 2-slot scout off-road is what I would call it, where you like go get watchtowers upgrades and then grab a piece of cargo or two off the ground and take it somewhere. just drive very carefully, because it will wobble around and tip on you. Not as much as like a Kodiak, but it's close. Boy, I don't know where to put this. Would I buy this over an Azov 5? Probably not, just because it's more expensive and it's way more tippy. The Azov 5 is a more stable truck. This thing also has no fuel. It's got 150 liters or 40 gallons and then another 40 gallons on the roof rack. So it basically equals one Royal BM17, but it's more fuel thirsty. Yeah, I think I like that one. Okay, on to the controversial one. This one could get me comments. It's not gonna go, if you heard me talk about the Mack defense, it's not gonna go as low as you think I'm going to put it. I've reevaluated, thought about it a little further. I think it's gonna go above. This is where it's gonna go for now. The thing is what's going to be controversial is the things that I put above it. It is not an S tier truck. I'm gonna start with saying that the Mack defense is definitely not an S tier truck. It is definitely an A tier truck though, and again, all of the A tier trucks I feel are like really close. Except for, man, I don't know. I still think the BM might go down. It is better than the Paystar. You don't have to buy it. Comes late in the game. You don't get it until season 10. It's got the formula of what they've been doing lately of give every truck every add-on with a roof rack. I think the biggest problem with this truck, there's a couple of problems, okay, which makes me less likely to pull it out of the garage than other trucks. So let me explain why. First problem, it's an 8x8, but it's an 8x8 that has 3 very close together axles. And I feel, this is just a theory, not a proven theory, it's an idea, that particularly rocks like to get stuck between the 3 rear axles. So the six wheels in the back cause collision with each other. Also in very deep mud conditions, I feel like the collision, like they did improve the collision model of this truck, but it's not as good as other trucks. Let's put it that way. There's other trucks I would use before I would use the Mack defense. It does have a roof rack. It's very thirsty. There is a combination you can give it that makes it less thirsty, but there are still trucks that are way more fuel efficient in it. And again, this is from the hard mode perspective. It's not one that I would go out of my way to use. This almost could go in the fuel truck gang. Because I could like downgrade it essentially to the fuel truck gang, and it would be like the S tier of fuel trucks. It's not going to go there though. It's definitely got to stay in the A, and it's going to be above these two for sure. Possibly one more. I think I see one more that's going to go above it or go below it. But there's some that are going to go above it, and it's going to make people angry. But that's okay. It's an opinion. It's hard mode. It's my opinion. You can have a different opinion. Leave a comment below. But yeah, I think I like where this is. The other problem with this thing is, like I said, the fuel. But the way to make it have less fuel consumption is put either the fuel Mauser engine or even the top engine, which is it goes from 9.5 to 10 fuel consumption, so it's really not a big fuel consumption difference for getting a little more torque. But particularly putting the gearbox, the multi-purpose gearbox in this thing, It really flattens the torque curve though, so then you suffer similar to the 114 SD. Load this thing up with a trailer with a low saddle and a crane, try and drive it up a hill. It's gonna stall out with the multi-purpose gearbox. Whereas if you use like an off-road gearbox or a high-range gearbox, it generally won't stall out. So you have different torque curves based on the gearbox, and that gearbox is much more fuel efficient, but it suffers a little bit from torque loss. So it's a trade-off, right? Like, you have to know that if you want to save fuel, which you generally want to do in hard mode, you're going to suffer a little bit with this truck. But if you want it to have its maximum amount of torque, you're going to guzzle the fuel down. So it puts it like right in the range of the Paystar, but free and better. It is better, but like, I still wouldn't go out of my way to use this truck. So that's, I guess, the way that I would explain it. So let's move on. Let the comments fly. So the next truck is going to be one of those that I'm going to put above the Mack. And I feel that this one's actually one of the most underrated trucks in the game, the Step 310. You get this one early again, and there's a... If it was something that I feel like in Tamir, you get that first Tayga in the first map in Drownlands. And this guy comes from Zimnegorsk way further in, and you have to like yank it out of a ditch and repair it and drop it off at the garage. I feel like if you swapped the tasks for that Tayga and this Step 310, so you get this step in Drownlands and you get the Tayga all the way in Zimnegorsk, people would have a chance to use this truck more and appreciate this truck more. This truck is magical. If you put the Voron engine, which it comes with, it's one of the only... Not a lot of trucks have their own engine, right? This is the only engine, like the only truck that uses that Voron engine. It is extremely low fuel consumption and way more than enough power and torque to pull this thing through anything. No, it doesn't have mud tires, but it doesn't need it either. It's extremely stable. Really, the only downside of this truck is it's got a blue crane. That's like the only thing, and the fuel tank is on the smaller side, but because it's so fuel efficient, it makes up for it. So I have a feeling that this is gonna make people mad too. This could almost go in S, but I think it's got to stay in A, because I mean, when you talk S is the best of the best, right? Like, this is not the best of the best, but it's close. So yeah, give the Step 310 a shot. It is very good. It is very, very good. We'll just leave it at that. All right. We're gonna get into some more of the does this need a new class trucks, starting with the Croc. I feel like if you took the bed and the saddles away from this thing and just left it with its really cool, unique maintenance add-on and fuel carrier, even got a little roof rack of fuel. Like, this truck was like it's a paid DLC, so like it kind of loses points because of that. If you don't feel like buying paid DLC, I don't blame you. But man, is this a fun truck to drive. This is like an insanely fun truck to drive. When it came out, I feel like everybody bought this thing and they were just like cruising around everywhere with it, with the Tayga balloons on it, or the duals once the Jetpack came out. And like, this thing is amazing. It's got its own special tires too, which is kind of neat. Like, you buy it and you can just use it right away, and it's really good. It's cheap too. It's how much is this thing? 26,200 plus upgrades, of course. Very strong, very good little fuel truck. It's actually a really good little like scouting truck. And like I said, this would fit perfect in the support class if you just took away the saddles. Because it does saddles, but it's not really good at it. It does do a single slot of cargo, but it doesn't have a crane, which kind of makes it useless for hard mode. Yeah, I say take away the bed, leave the trailer access, give it, actually just leave it with the repair and the fuel add-ons that it's got. You can just pick between a bunch of repair or a bunch of fuel, and let it be a support truck. And this would actually probably be like the S tier support truck too. It's super good. I love using this truck. It's just not, off-road is not the class that it belongs in. So that's sort of my thought on the Croc. The next one is the Step Pike. This one comes from Season 8. Do some farming, get a really cool truck. It's like a really tiny off-road truck. It like almost could go in the does this need a new class? But it would be really like shameful to put it in there. It's got a very unique set of add-ons. It's got its own bed that actually color matches. Saber, more of those, please. Roof rack with some repair points. Fuel on the roof rack. Fuel in the bed. That special bed. So this one actually, I love using this thing as a 2-slot. You know, just romper truck. Do contests with this thing. Do scouting with this thing. Like I said, you know, kind of like the a much better version of the KRS Bandit. Much less tippy. It's still kind of wobbly. I have rolled this thing several times just from being reckless because it's kind of fast. But I mean, it doesn't have a dual tire option. That's the only thing that kind of kills it for like heavy loads. Is it's not very good for heavy loads. But it's like a really fun, just go pick up 2 things, maybe even tow a 2-slot trailer or even a 4-slot trailer. It struggles a little bit on the top end of things if you really load it up, but like it could just kind of go anywhere. And it's a really good seismic module truck as well. So if you do seismic missions, this thing actually fits a seismic module. So it's like the tiniest seismic module truck, kind of gets squeezed in between places real nice. Just gotta watch for that stupid bar on the back that gets hung on stumps and stuff. Question is, where do I put it? I think in terms of would I use this in hard mode, you get the step way earlier. Okay, the step 310, this is the step Pike, the step brother. Make all of your jokes in the comments. I think it's got to go just below the 310. Again, all of these are very close. I think the A class is like the closest to each other than any other class in the game. Off-roads are all very good. Like all of these. Bs I just wouldn't take with me in a hard mode scenario. Except for these last 2 are pretty much worthless. They almost need a C, but will be nice. But these A's are so close together. Like any of these are interchangeable with any of the other ones, and you can use them and they all work and they all will bring you success, I guess is the way I would look at it. Just situationally, I would much rather use the step because it kills the low saddle game. Like this will make you a low saddle crane enjoyer. This not as much. This pretty good, but will use all of your fuel. And this struggles a little bit on power, a little bit. Again, it had like 15,000 more torque, really good. Okay, so moving on. Let's recap. The Tatra 805. I don't even know what they could do to this thing. There was a comment in Discord from Isarokan. Somebody asked, would you give the Tatra 805 a scout crane or whatever, the autonomous medium? And he said no. Very bluntly, no. So I mean, it doesn't even fit in scouts. It could go in this support class, but it would probably be the worst at it because it's not good. The fuel add-on is the same size as the other ones, those other small ones. The repair add-on is cool looking, but it's a DLC you have to buy. It is a... How much is this thing? 39,400. Not bad. I guess, again, in hard mode, I would never buy this truck. In normal, this is usually the first truck I go into the garage and sell for money. Yeah, it's really tippy. It doesn't have a really good power. It doesn't really have any good functionality besides for being a support class, but it's just the worst at it. So, low of this new class. Like, C tier of the new class. Alright. Tatra Phoenix, the other Tatra. This one comes from Season 5. Good old Dirty Don. This one will probably make people a little upset as well. They did recently buff this to give it the Tatra crane, but I hate the Tatra crane. So this is my opinion on the Tatra crane. Again, not shared with everybody. It is the strongest crane, but it is the worst crane for overloading. You can barely put a piece of cargo in the front slot of the bed, let alone a front slot of the bed on top of the cargo. Like, it's impossible. You can't put cargo in that front spot. With this crane, you can pinch it really good in the back slot, but then you have to stack it like 3 high because nothing goes in the front slot. It doesn't even work good with high saddle trailers, which is the only trailer it can use. It should have a low saddle, at least. I mean, again, I don't want to score trucks based on their add-ons. Don't judge a truck based on what they can do, but based on their capability and how useful they are. This truck, however, is the S tier of the fuel truck gang. That's where it's going to go. It is such a good fuel truck. This fuel add-on, in fact, even the picture has it with the fuel truck, is a larger fuel add-on. It's 2,000 liters instead of 1,800. Or no, wait. Is that right? Am I saying that right? Yeah, it's the larger of the two. Put it that way. 539 gallons. So it's the same as a fuel trailer. The rear steer makes it like extremely agile getting through things. It's got the Tatra wishbone suspension, which makes it really good and capable. The only kind of downside is it bounces its nose off the ground a little bit. There is a bumper that you can put on it that gives it a little more clearance. And there's a video on the channel that I actually found, kind of a cheat that you can, if you install a specific set of add-ons when you first get this truck, because you have to buy the add-ons, it's a bug. It's probably will get fixed at some point, but it does give you a full tank of fuel for free in hard mode, which is nice. So like the whole tanker is full, but you have to do exactly as the add-ons in order that I did in the video, and that's the only way to get it. Yeah, I think it's got to just go in the fuel truck gang. It's not a good cargo truck. Like, it is, but it isn't, because it's got essentially like the Azov slowness to it. But if I'm going to use an Azov, I'm using this Azov, not this one. Yeah. You know, like, this one's way more capable than this one. And this one makes a way better fuel truck than this one. So again, this one, I feel like it's almost injustice to not put this in the fuel truck gang. Okay. The next one. This one is fairly obvious. They call it the Tayga King for a reason. The Tayga 6436 is going to go all the way above the Azov 6. Yeah, I don't think it's coming out of that spot either. There's a few downsides to the Tayga 6436. It feels cheaty to use. Like, it is almost too good. I hate it again that this with the strat in the beginning made you not learn how to use things like the Fleet Star and the White Western Star and that kind of thing, because you kind of feel left out. But it is like easy mode. Go get this truck, you will just crush everything that you use it for. It's a little underpowered until you get the top motor for it. This can have OHD1s, which makes a huge difference in a lot of trucks. I mean, it almost makes me put the Paystar higher because of those OHD1s, but I can't justify moving the Paystar higher. This thing is very difficult to roll over, except for when you're going too fast with it because it's too fast. But if you keep the speed under control and you slow down and let the truck settle if it starts to get unsettled, this truck will literally drive on 45-degree angles and not roll over. It's quite amazing actually how good this truck is. It can't be used as a crane with a sideboard though. It can either be a sideboard or a crane, not both. So it's a very good low saddle truck, low saddle crane. It's a very good seismic module truck again. It ironically makes a really good fuel truck as well, fuel/repair. But yeah, you can use this thing for pretty much anything. It will go pretty much anywhere. It does have the option of Tayga balloons in that really thick mud if you want it to kind of float on top, but I usually just recommend using OHD1s if you're going to put load on it. I don't know, just, if you know, just use the Tayga 6436. There's nothing better than it in the game, I think, in the class, in the off-road class. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Tayga B. This is the 6455B. This one comes from Season 6. Little longer, little can hang because it's a little longer. You get that kind of a gap between the rear axles and the front axles. It can kind of get like high centered on. It does have the ability to throw a spare tire on the roof, which is nice. It's almost as stable as the Tayga 6436. It can use a crane in a bed, so it's actually a kind of a good little jump around scout truck, kind of like the Pike. It's quite good with a low saddle, but it can't use OHD1s, so there's no dual tire option for the Tayga B, which I think, I don't know, I still think it's an S tier truck. I feel almost guilty using the Tayga B. It's sort of hard to get though, because like I said, you have to get it from Maine, and Maine is sort of the last really difficult region up until whatever we have coming out for season 15. It's a unique truck. When you get the truck, you don't actually get it. It's not on the map. It just shows up in your storage. Kind of neat. Yeah, I think you can use this thing for a ton of things too. That's the thing. It's like, again, I don't want to rate it on versatility. I want to rate it on like how good it is for hard mode. Would I transfer this truck to another region? Absolutely. But would I feel guilty about it? Almost. It's just too good. So yeah, I think it's going to go below. The Tayga brothers are going to hang out together, I think. I think that's a good place for them. The Azov 6 is, because you have to buy it, even though you can get it really early, is going to go below just because, again, hard mode rules. Even in normal, you have to buy this thing. So yeah, I think I like that place for it. Alright. More does this need a new class vehicles. These are next two are both come from Kola. A place that not a lot of people like going, but man, I feel like you're missing out if you don't go to Kola. Just the music alone is great. So where do I want to put this one? It's gonna go low. The Tuz Warthog. I think it's gonna go above the 805, obviously. It's just too tippy to use for anything. They did give it the autonomous medium winch, so you can actually use it as a scout. It's just not very good at that either. Yeah, this one's take away the bed, take away the saddles, leave it with its maintenance add-on, leave it with its roof rack, leave it with the ability to tow a trailer around. and I don't care, leave it with the Tayga balloons too. But it would still be, I would actually pick the Sprinter over this now. Before, not really, but I would now, with the amount of repair and fuel that this thing has and stability that this thing has, I would use this over the Warthog in the support class. Alright, Acteon. Acteon's a cool little truck. This one can do long logs. I almost hate to put this in that doesn't need a new class, but it's also really tippy if you put, like, especially the little fuel tank add-on on it. It gets, like, really, really rolly. It makes a really cool little repair truck. Again, like I said, I hate to take the low saddle or the log crane, the long log front off of this thing, but it does need to go in needs a new class. I think we'll put it between the Croc and the Sprinter. Definitely worse than the Croc. Definitely better than the Sprinter. Yep, I like that place for it. I just, like I said, it pains me to take away the ability to do meme things with this thing, but let's be real, you're not going to use this in a normal situation to do long logs or low saddle trailers. Alright. The Voron brothers. I guess let's start in the order that they are. The Voron AE is the worst of the three. It's, I believe, the lowest size. Which one has got the lowest fuel tank? I think the AE does have the lowest size fuel tank. Yes. And it also has this really weird problem where the steering rate, not the steering ability, but the how fast it turns from left to right is, like, very slow. It's think Dairy Longhorn 3194 from Alaska. The turning is very slow on this thing. For being such a small truck, you do get one for free all the way in Season 11, so that's the only Voron you get for free. But I don't think it's very good. I don't know. I mean, it does have plenty of power. It can low saddle, but like I said, that turning really kills it, and it's thirsty. It is very thirsty, actually. Partially because it's an all-time all-wheel drive and diff lock, which makes it good. It does have the ability to do OHD 1s. I don't know. I hate to put this in the fuel truck gang. I think it belongs there, though. It gets reduced. I mean, on my save, it is a fuel truck. It is reduced to a fuel truck. It's a very good fuel truck. Yeah, I would say take the free one you get from Season 11, turn it into a fuel truck, and never regret it, ever, and take it with you to every map. Because it needs the fuel truck to feed it, just like the ANK does. But I don't think... I mean, if I was going to put it up here, it would be somewhere in A. I would say it would actually be below... Probably below the Mack. And because it doesn't have a yellow crane, probably below the Paystar too. But I don't think... I think I would much rather have this. It is an amazing fuel truck. And you just gas and go. You don't even think about it. But yeah, middle of fuel truck gang. Phoenix is better. Especially since it has rear steer. It's definitely way more stable than the ANK. I hate to do it with this truck. The Vorons are all really good. But it makes such a good fuel truck too, though. If we're talking hard mode, you need fuel trucks, okay? You know what I'm talking about if you play hard mode. And this is like top-notch fuel truck. And it's almost doing it injustice to not use it as such. Okay. I think that's where it's going to go. You can also buy it early, too. It is... How much is this guy? 82,100. It's actually the middle priced. So the next one is the cheap Voron, the Squeaky D, Voron D. $79,700. This one you never get for free. It has its own unique special gearbox that's basically just an off-road gearbox. It is sort of the middle on fuel economy too, and the middle on fuel size. I think it's the best looking Voron. And I love the squeak. I don't know why. It's like some people it annoys, but I just love the squeak. This is a good buy early on. And I think this will make people angry, but it's gonna go slightly again, all of these A classes are very close, but I would use this that I have to buy over the Mack Defense, just because it doesn't get hung up in weird places. It doesn't suffer from power creep, because again, there's only one engine choice. It uses less fuel. It has a decent sized fuel tank. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It can use OHD1s, which puts it above this as well, and it doesn't suffer from the weird axles too close together problem that the Mack has. So I would definitely use the Pike more than this, because the Pike you get for free, and the Pike is just more fun to use. But if I'm gonna buy a Voron D, I'm taking it with me everywhere. It's such a good truck. Yeah, I think I like that. Alright, Voron Grad. This is the most fuel efficient one because you can turn off the diff and you can also turn off the all-wheel drive. So it acts like what I would consider most of the other American trucks out there. Cannot do crane, sideboard, bed, and trailer, but that doesn't really matter anymore in terms of things. I prefer the low saddle. Again, OHD1 truck. Puts it high. It definitely bumps it up. Where do I want it though? Where do I want this truck? I'm going to say it is a big fuel tank too. It's the same size fuel tank as both of the Taygas. It can use mud tires too, and OHDs, so you have the choice of both. I think it's better than the Step. I don't know. Yeah, I have to put it better than the Step. The question is it S? I think it is. I think this is definitely the best of the Vorons, without a question. Is it better than the Pike and the Step? I think so. And I think it can be very low S. Like, these three are definitely outliers, and then this is just kind of just making the cut. Because it is, you have to buy it. It's the most expensive one, $84,400, but it's so good. Once you get the top motor for this thing out of a mirror, this thing is chef's kiss too. You don't have any power struggles with it. It can do most things well. Like using this thing as like a medium or short log. Another real good choice for that. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think that's the last of the S. So this is our S. This is our A. Yeah, I think I have to leave the BM and A. It can stay all... Again, this one's just made the cut. Okay. Last two. Two Zikz brothers. The baby Zikz, I refer to it. 5368. You have to buy this one. It is cheap, $31,900. This one pains me as well to take the ability to do long logs and low saddle width, because this one actually does pretty good at it, believe it or not. But it is just a meme. It is just for content that I'd use it. And if you want a good challenge, buy this sucker and use it to do long logs in Michigan. Without the upgraded motor. It can do it. It's tough, but it's fun. They did give it the ability to have the duals, jet duals, but like I said, it needs to be in this class. It needs to be in the new support class where we take away the beds, we take away the saddles, we take away the long log carrier, and just leave it with fuel tanks, repair add-ons, the ability to tow trailers, little scoot around repairs, and support truck. And I think it's better. It's definitely better than the Acteon. It's definitely worse than the Croc. So yeah, right here, right in the I would say high A or maybe even S, along with the Croc in the new class. Right, and then the last one, the other Zikz. This one comes from Ontario, Season 9. Because it comes from Ontario, it comes with a unique water add-on, which nobody actually wants to do water. Stop giving us water. And it also has the same problem that the Voron AE has, where the rate of turn is very slow, which is not good in such a small truck. Again, if I put it not in the does this need a new class, it would probably, like, I would almost use the Freightliner before this, because at least it can tow a trailer worth something. Yeah, I think this will go, it'll squeak above the Warthog in the new support class. Take away the cranes, or take away the low saddles. Just repair add-ons, fuel add-ons, trailers. But it's like, yeah, I think it's below the Sprinter even. These 4 I would use, these 3 I would not. Put it that way. In fact, I've sold this one. It's worth a lot too. It's worth $80,900, so you get a decent amount for selling it. So I think that's where the list is going to be. I don't think I want to change anything. The Royal, like I said, the Royal I could very easily be convinced to put it in the very, 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 very top of B, but it's never going to go lower than that. But yeah, make your argument. Give me some reasoning behind what your argument is if you want me to move something to a different place. Comment below, of course. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.